What's poppin', everyone? It's your boy Levi. We're back for another VOD review coaching stream. Unfortunately, replays are still broken, so this will be a little bit shorter than the normal one. I it's out of my control. A little upset about it. It's kind of ruins a lot of the content. Actually, I'm glad I have a backlog of games stored so that I can still upload. But I've seen a lot of people venting their frustration that replays aren't working currently. But yeah, we're doing VOD review today. Have a couple games. I think there's 2 or 3. We'll try and make the best out of it. Before we begin though, I'm actually on time for once too. Normally I'm not on time. I got caught in traffic, but I still managed to get home in time. But before we begin, there's some new codes. So I just want to make you guys aware of those. Head down to support, head over to use coupon, and as you know, you probably have the Tokyo Game Show codes. Those are the Tokyo Game Show with ER 1 through 4. Only 2 of those I think are available currently. The other 2 will open up in a few days. Make sure you do that before September 28th. And then there's some other codes now. You can get 12,000 ACoin and 300 of MP using ER Steam 30,000, I believe. Yeah, there's 2,000 ACoin and 50 NP. And it all adds up to 12,300. ER to the moon. ER play to win. All these codes are in my Discord. They're also on my community tab. You definitely want to make sure that you're in my Discord so that you can always get some free rewards. I post about them constantly. ER play for your fun. So don't miss out on those. ER Happy Time and the last code, ER Play Squad. So make sure you pick those up. Get yourself a nice chunk of currency. I'm up to 500 now. My drops are going to be expiring soon. Make sure you're also collecting your drops if you haven't. Mine are finished. And then it's a nice bit of currency. I'm up to 700,000 now in ACoin almost. So that's a lot. Before we begin though, I will run the preview just so that you know how to submit games. Hey Len, how's it going? Oh, you're not late. I just started. The next submission date will be September 28th when it opens. Hopefully the replays will be working on the next patch. If not, we'll have to do something again. I'm sorry for the people that submitted that didn't have the option of uploading their games. You will unfortunately be skipped because I won't be able to watch them unless replays are miraculously working today. We'll check though. But here's how to submit if you haven't. Welcome to the It's Levi's replay review livestream. Simply fill out the form in the video description or on my community tab ahead of the stream, and your game will be considered for a review during the livestream. Live coaching is completely free, so don't feel the need to super chat or spam the chat trying to get one. It'll be ignored. After the stream, the VOD will stay up so you can always come back to this stream. There will be timestamps in the description in case you missed your review. If you submit a game for review, you can expect the following. I'm sharing my knowledge and experience with Eternal Return to help you become a better player. All advice, tips, and tricks will be based on my own experiences. The aim is to make you a better player, so please feel free to ask questions in the chat whether it's your own game or someone else's. But do not put anyone down if they make a bad play or die. We're all here to learn and get better. Thank you so much for checking out the stream. Leave a like if you enjoy and let a friend know so we can have more submissions. The more people that submit, the more you're likely to learn. Let's get started. I apologize for not muting the client music in the background. I don't think it would have been too loud, but right, so let me get the submission forms up. See how many we actually have. Okay, so this is why it's also really important to be in my Discord and checking my community tab. Because replays were broken, I put a temporary link where you could submit your games, or if you could like record your games, either one. Hopefully I won't have to do this very often, but it's just because replays are going. I believe the first 3 submissions didn't end up resubmitting. They might have, I'm not sure, we'll check. But to my knowledge, replays are still broken. Oh, they're working. Let's go. Replays are working. We're back, baby. Okay, wait. I didn't even read any of the information. Okay, I'm so glad replays are working again. Thank God. Okay, let me pause this real quick. So this is Doodle.
It's all about skill.
They play Irem. They're playing solo. This is their first game after a bunch of norms. Ranked under silver, and they want help with decision making and /or fight positioning. I definitely can help with that. Okay, so Irem player. Thank God replays are working. We'll see how many we get through. I'll try to get through all of them just because I don't want anyone to feel robbed that their submission wasn't put in because of all the delays. But I'm really glad that they're working now. Okay, so first things first, when you spawn warehouse, you got the middle spawn down here. Because there's no one else in warehouse, you can actually just run up to this distribution up here and then take this distribution as your first distribution. It'll be a little bit faster. You should still find 2 batteries and 2 scrap metal in this one because it's empty. And then you're just right here for chapel anyway. If you don't need this leather right away, I would hold off on killing the chickens just because it's a little bit slow. But I like that you're grabbing rocks along your route, assuming they won't clutter your inventory. And I like that we're taking this bottom distribution too. It's faster than running inside, especially if you're coming from dock. You still understand how Irem plays? She's really very interesting. She's got 2 forms. She kind of plays like a bruiser a little bit, but she's not as tanky. I think this is a better time to grab your leather. If you were to grab the leather off that chicken there, I would definitely recommend that over the first chicken. It takes a little bit too long. These chickens are not likely to be here, so I think that place in chapel would be your best bet. And we're on pretty good pace, assuming beach is your last zone. What's the attack? Oh, I can't look at item recipes. What's the tachyon recipe? It's electronic parts plus knee pads, right? I would definitely, I think you were sitting on the tights for a little bit. I would build those up to knee pads as quickly as possible so that you just run a little bit faster. Here we have an eye missing an item, so that's good that you're looking for the kill right away. You should get it, I think. Yeah. Good job. So that's the item discrepancies I talk about. Your full build, I was missing an arm piece, so you can look for that kill. Really good play there. And we're here for bears and beach. Gonna be solo. Cicella is gonna pull up here, but she's low. Team's here too. I like that we're grouping. Is this on KR? I think this is on KR. KR likes to group really early. Nikki ran into some trouble here. I'll get my mouse off the screen too. Doing some fishing, getting some food. Probably hit the bear with hedging if you can too. You and Nikki will be splitting the front line for this comp, it looks like. She'll probably be the primary initiator, and then you can look to follow up with W. Hedging's going to be the bulk of your damage. Just, skill shots as the main damage dealer, though, is going to be a little tough. You probably will play fights a little bit slower with no marksman.
My legs are tired. Time to rest.
Wolves being up here is really good for you guys. So typically wolves won't be up at night. So at this point you should be thinking that you're a little bit stronger than normal. You've managed to clear all of beach bears and you got some wolves that aren't usually here. So any team that does show up for this meteorite, you should be able to fight. Doesn't look like any team's going to be here though. So that'll be a free meteorite. Probably goes to Hedgen, I would imagine, for Death Rune. Yeah, the Death Rune comes out. I think that's the best play with that meteorite. I think your role in this comp is to kind of either follow up with Nikki or try to keep people off of Hedgen. I think you play a little bit more passive once you notice that Hedgen's E is down, and then you can play more aggressive when it's up, so you don't have to peel her as often. One thing that you can also do is look to play off Nikki. Because you'll both be in melee range, you'll be splitting damage a lot. So you and Hedgen can look to poke, Hedgen with Qs, you with your ball, and then once Nikki chooses to engage. This is a really good hunt rotation too. Archery day 2 is one of my favorite hunt rotations. There's a team TPing here though, so let's look to see how you play this fight. Vanya ease in immediately. Okay, there's Nikki all goes in, you follow up with the ball, that's really good. Both of you are asleep. Nikki probably should have peeled back here. This is still winnable, you just need to create space for Hedgen. Really good Q there. Missed the W, but it's fine, it would have been parried. Hedgen wins her 1v1, which is good, you win yours. Everyone did their job, well played. That's probably how your fights should go. Nikki might have to get a little bit more tankier since she's the primary initiator. She'll probably go down a little bit in the early game, which means she is not going to look to save credits. You and Hedgen can probably look to save credits if you can. I think when you're playing solo, you should look for a call-in right now, just so that you're even with transitions. You can keep the tempo too because you wipe the team. It looks like Nikki's going to look for a call-in too. This should be for her Permafrost Glove. I don't really know Irem's transitions, but I would look to call something here, whether it's Glacials or whatever Irem builds. Dragon Scale, it looks like. And then Hedgen will be sitting on 2 transitions. That's probably Persona? Yeah, Persona comes in there. So you guys are going to be super strong. Hedgen with 2 transitions, one being a 4-score. Should look to fight whoever you come across, really. Make sure you hop in the battle zone here. Oh no, you dropped the Glacial Ice. Okay, it was free anyway. If that happens, I'll just like make sure you get in with your team. The whole cadet skin thing ends in like 2 days, right? The whole cadet skin thing? Like the cadet Bianca for the rank season? I don't think it's in 2 days. I think it's in like a month. Is it not? So you guys won the battle zone, so you group up, take the hunts. That's always a good play. Keep in mind that you did take the hotel wolves here, which are now being taken. Obviously, you can't TP out of the battle zone, which is unfortunate, but just keep that in mind. These bears should be coming back up too. Oh, it's already been taken. Unfortunate. One thing is, like, if you do win a quick battle zone, you can look to take alpha after. This team would be a little bit strong to fight, but I think based on your comp, you should be able to beat it. Sua's a little bit hard to deal with double mage, or triple mage even. Can look for Temple Horde too. It's probably taken by this point. It's one of those things where you would have immediately had to run to. If you see like this bear is taken, you can probably assume that with this battle zone being here, that this all probably got taken as well. You can see that this battle zone is no longer active because there's no gates. So kind of can infer there. Also, if you're checking your map, you could have seen if there was a call in here maybe. Looks like you guys will pick up a free kill here with the pathing on the Sedella. Oh, it's just going to go right around. That's so unfortunate. Yeah, you guys wouldn't have been able to see that. Doc TP here. Potentially for Barris. No objective here. I wouldn't mind seeing you guys walk over to purple box. I think you guys are strong enough that you could have contested a tree if you wanted to. We are losing a bit of tempo just from all the walking around with no hunts. This team's very fightable too. Hedging east forward has to be a little bit careful. If she east forward like that, you might want to try and body block the Fiora. Or not body block, sorry. Just like put pressure on the Fiora so she doesn't walk up and get tips on the Hedging. Not a great place to fight in a tight corridor against a Vanya. She's pretty much guaranteed to hit your sleep. Good dive to finish off the Vanya. I think you need to, yeah, get away from this Ava if you can. Might be able to turn it if you play it quickly. Yeah, good job. Good recognize that you're probably going to die if you try to run out here. So you went for the turn. Your team helped up with the damage. Good decision making there. So far your positioning has been really good. Just be careful if you do dive that Vanya, because she's already blown her ult, she's already blown her Q and shields, and she's very low. She's pretty much out of the fight anyways, so if you do dive her like that, make sure you get that kill. If you don't get that kill, it's kind of she gets like an extra bit of damage on you, and that Ava probably takes you down and you trade. Your team kited out the Fiora really well, so definitely the right play there, but just be a little cautious that if you're going to dive that deep without your team, you make sure you do get that kill. Would like to see you stay for this purple box. Unless you did and the timer's glitched, but you guys worked hard for that team fight. Make sure you get your reward. I'm going to assume that you guys got it and that the timer's just glitched. Day 3 is a good call-in time again. So I like that you're picking up call-ins here. Mithril Dress comes out. Oh, you guys have a 4 square, so I'm going to assume that you guys got it. Hedging's super strong here. Look to play off her. Have her poke with you. Throw out balls. Throw out Hedging Qs. Even Hedging can fish for Ws at this point. You should be able to poke out any team before you fight them, just based on these comps. Shukai acceptable to poke. Siwa a little bit susceptible to poke, but deals with it a little bit better. This comp might be a little troublesome if Evo dives your backline. This is good. You guys were in this area earlier, and the hunts were taken, so you can infer that they're coming back up. Plus, you'll have the timer on these mutants. So I like that you're here for bears, especially because on radar scan you would have seen no one here. You can infer that they haven't been taken. We're on Nikki here. You got some salmon too. Make sure to cook that for the legendary food. Night 3 here. Purple box comes in. Glad that you're staying with your team. Gonna do another call in here. Okay, your team needs to recognize that you're doing a call in. Once they get vision of this team, they need to immediately peace out and not look to poke because you're not together. Hedgen looked to pick up something too. She got a mithril. So that's good. You got mutant bears coming up soon. This team knows that you're here because they would have saw your call in. Hedgen would have seen them just now. This team is fightable. Cicella taking a lot of poke, and that's the power of poke, right? A little early on the Nikki ult. Gets hit by the bubble. As long as you guys keep poking it out, playing it slow. Can't play this too fast or Suo or 1v3 or comp. Cell taking so much damage. Really good positioning in this fight, not to dive too deep until you're ready. Good parry from Nikki. Okay, hopefully this replay doesn't break when I go back. The way that you played this was really good. I like how you stayed near Hedgen, letting you guys poke out until the Suo hard committed too far. Then you guys burned her down, which is the right play. Cicella walking up here is really troll. She gets hit by a lot of damage. Okay, right here. Now I know it's really tempting to dive this Cicella, But you made the really good play by staying back here with Hedgen. Nikki kind of goes too far here. This is more of a misplay on her than it is for you to follow up here. I really like that you stayed back. They all collapse on her to peel. She flashes out, which is good. Shukai ult is down now. Now you can look to poke out again while they're on the bridge. They're all in a narrow corridor. It makes it really easy to poke. They're going to take a ton of damage here from Caltrops from Hedgen. Sicela gets tagged again. Nikki Q's into the Shukai here. Doesn't do a ton of damage. Kind of a needless play. But the Sue E here is really well defended. You guys turned on her really good. Shukai also tried to dive here, which is really good. And then now that Sue has blown everything flashed out, Hedgen can deal with the Shukai by herself. You guys had the Sicela down from being poked out earlier. And you can chase the Sue down. So really good team fight.
You need to be prepared too. All right, let's keep it going. I expect no less. Should we take bets that you can
Really well played there.
This is the beginning.
One thing I've always wondered, is it better to feed one character than to be strong and distribute kills and legendaries? It depends on the character. Like in this comp, they need to get the Hedgen ahead. She's their main source of damage. Nikki's going to explode when she Qs in. Irem doesn't do a ton of AoE damage. She does a lot of single target damage with Cat Punch. So they need to get Hedgen ahead. They can look to poke out before they fight with Hedgen Q and Irem Q, the human ball. And then that's how they look for fights. In a comp that's like more spread out, like the Sua, Rio, Sicela comp, they would probably look to split transitions a little bit more easily with mostly stacking the Rio in the late game. She's going to do the most consistent damage. Sua has 3 transitions, Rio has 4, Sicela has 4, so it's pretty even split there. So we're TPing. There's only 2 teams left, so you do have a really open map to deal with. You don't have to worry too much about TPing. If there's like 5 or 6 teams still at this point, I would be careful with TPing, especially just going from stream to hospital. Just walk. And if there's that many teams left, because it's likely you're going to TP onto somebody. But with only 2 teams left, you can definitely play like a little bit more riskier. Especially if you would have just seen them on radar scan on the other side of the map. That's fine. At this point, it's just about kind of making sure you're at your peak form, making sure Nikki gets fully online so that she can survive a dive. You're fully online, which is good. You do have sweet potatoes that you can cook, but you guys can deal with that at some point. I wouldn't let this game get all the way to Wick, just in the case that you don't get it. A little problematic, but I like that you're keeping your mastery up, which is really good. What's a good gold weapon for Arda? Not picking that character. You just give everything to your team because that's not a real character. I have no idea. I don't play Arda. I don't really play Arcana characters either. I would imagine probably like Empress or the Moon are fine. I think those are the only 2 Arcana weapons. I just build one of those. It's not going to make a difference. Arda needs some help. I would like to see you guys in stream so that you can pick up this yellow box. You'd also deny it from this team. You don't really know how strong this team is, so you will see them walk in the factory, which is good. So you know that they're not behind you on Wick. But that's also how you can keep an eye on like where they are. Just if you see this box disappear, then you know that they're behind you. We'll see how you play this final fight though. Realistically, you kind of play it the same as the other fight. Instead of them having Shukai though, they have Rio, who's just easier to poke out, or not easier to poke out, but like will take more damage than Shukai from poke. She'll stand farther back obviously, so she'll probably be harder to poke out, but you just want to look to like kind of burn down Sua's health, make it hard for her to raw engage in. If Sicela walks up to try and ball, you poke her out as well. If Rio walks up to longbow, try to poke her out as well. And then you can have Nikki hard commit, preferably onto the Rio, because Sicela will just bubble again. Sicela also doesn't do enough consistent damage for the fight. That's what you need to be careful of though, is the Sua double Q. Corridor fight's okay for you guys. It makes it easy to hit skill shots, but also makes it really hard to dodge Sua and Sisela, especially the pull. I'm so mean. He's not a real character, Arctic. You do want to keep an eye on these guys, though, just so that they don't sneak wick behind you. You don't want to blindly walk into them, but you also don't want them to get too far away from you. Really greedy call-in from the Sui here. Was she even... I can't see what she called. You also want to make sure your foods are good so that you don't keep taking Sisela ult damage. Hedgen doing a lot of damage to that Sua. I think it's good that you're staying with the Hedgen. You guys kind of want both poke at the same time. Nikki needs to try and create space for you guys though, and then she just parries the pull if she gets hit by it. You guys are kind of losing the poke war though, so I would back up and reset here. Don't back up too far that they can just go to wick, but you want to back up enough so that you guys can heal. Rio kind of can get away with that E just because you guys are poked out so hard. It's kind of a bait E for her to do at that point. Sisela aggroed wick here, so that's really good for you guys. It'll help you reset. Now that your health's back up, you can look to engage. You guys should know that Sisela was aggroing wick, so that you can look to engage on her either off to the side or take the 3v2. You had like a small window there that Nikki could have pulled the trigger on. I think she could have just raw ulted the Rio. You need to be much closer at this part. Don't worry about wick. In this situation, no team's really going for wick. Sisela gets caught here. Good for Nikki to not raw ult. If your W had hit the Rio here, I think you just explode her. You know, Rio ended up being in the front line there. Really good dive here, though. I felt really coordinated for being solo. Aggressive flash, it's fine. Okay. I want to talk about that window, though, just because the replay will end once you kill these guys. It looks like you got the advantage for this fight. So, like, right... Oh, no, this is still too far back. You have to be careful, right? Because Sua can give a shield to Rio for the spell immunity, but she used it right there. And you guys know Sisela's off to the side here. So right now is like when you could have either engaged on Sisela, especially because she's bubbling for her own ultimate, or if you engage on these two, 3v2. Sisela has to run over, right? Like, being over here doesn't really do anything. You're a little bit too far to poke, and Sisela's not a threat on wick. But there's going to be a small window right here where Rio gets in the front line. So we see the shield come out on Sisela. You're in W range easily of this Rio, right? Like, if you just angle this to the side, I know Sisela's the low health target. It looks like it's an easy kill if you can get her knocked up and then Q. But Rio's completely out of position here. She's in front of her front line. Sua either has to burn ult, which she doesn't have, to shield, or she just gets caught. Now, Rio does have flash, so you will have to get the Nikki ult lockdown on her because she's likely to flash your W if you W here. But that's one major cooldown down, and you can look for it again. Or you can just do what you guys did. Rio not respecting the Nikki ult, doesn't flash it backwards. At this point, she's fucked, right? Like, you guys made a really good dive here to finish her off. I don't know why she didn't. Yeah, she flashes in the line here. Like, had she just walked in this way and then flashed over this wall, she would have been in a much better position. She wouldn't have been in a great position, but a little bit better than she is now. But really good pickup there. Just make sure you're looking at priority targets. Sisela at that time wasn't going to be a priority. Should be able to run Sisela down here. She aggro's wick too, so yeah, good play there. Good E over the wall. And then you just make sure you don't get 1v1'd or 1v3'd by Sui here. This character's so overtuned that she lived that long, dude. I wouldn't worry about finishing off the Sisela body like you did, just because you guys know the Rio's dead and you know the Sua's out there 1v3ing you guys. Her body being down doesn't really do anything, unless you like hardcore needed food, but Most of the time, it's probably just better to get back to your team and help kill the sewer. But really good play there. Play Irem really well, especially for that comp. That's basically how you want to play Irem, by not diving too heavy when you can't, helping to peel your back line, and then looking to dive in with Cat Punch when you can finish off a target. So really good games there. Your positioning looks pretty good. Like, you keep playing like that, and that's pretty much all you need. One small thing about decision making at the end, but overall your decision making and focus are really good. I don't think you'll be in silver for long. I think you'll be much higher than silver. All right, next up. Next up is Stroke. They're playing Carla. They're duo with the Abby Gold Plat. Want to focus on tempo and when is it better to fight or run away? I struggle at contesting stuff and thinking before going in, which often results in bad placements unless everything is going my way, like in this replay. Okay. That's kind of just like a focus thing. Kind of have to have like a mental checklist before you go into games. Or not into games, into fights. That one's really hard, other than it's just muscle memory. Okay, so it looks like some replays are broken and some aren't. That's really unfortunate. So the first one worked, this one does not, it seems. It also could just be too old, I'm not sure, whenever it was submitted. I'll try to talk a little bit about this. But I unfortunately cannot watch your game. So in terms of tempo, when you're playing, I thought all replays were broken. I did too, but the first one worked. So, in terms of tempo, when you're playing solo, you want to try and keep up your call-ins so that you stay for the pace of the game. You should be able to get like a feel of how you are in the game based on like what you're getting in the early game. Like the thing I like to tell people is that there's like a finite amount of resources if you don't count like animals in the game. Like there's 2 Tree of Life and 2 Meteors on day 2. If you get a Tree of Life, and realistically if only one team gets one objective, like you're on pace for the stronger parts of the lobby, and then the weaker parts of the lobby are fighting to catch up. And then you add a call into that for your team if you're playing solo. If you're playing with someone, you can kind of pull your credits together so you don't have to worry about having call-ins once you have credits. In terms of like tempo on whether it's better to fight or run away, you want to fight when you guys have like an advantage. Fair fights aren't really like, they're a thing, but they're not reliable. Like ideally you don't want to take fair fights if you don't want to. Like it doesn't have to always be a transition advantage. It could just be like a positional advantage or a like health advantage. Like if you're third partying, or if you're happen to be in a bush and someone's walking by, you got the positional advantage. Even if they're a stronger team than you, you can probably jump them. Just make sure your team's all on board. Like fair fights or like 50-50s, you kind of want to avoid, where they're just kind of like a coin flip of who plays the fight better. If you're in that situation, it's like you kind of have to assess, like, do you have to make this play? Like sometimes you do, and especially in like ranked solo queue or like team queue or whatever you want to call it, where like if you don't have kills, you're looking at like a -50 in the higher elo, so you kind of just take fights just to take fights sometimes, where like in tournaments, like you wouldn't take the 50-50 there just because it has so much difference on the line. But typically you want to fight when you're stronger, fight for objectives, fight when you don't think, like when you have vision control and you don't think there's going to be a third party. Some of these aren't avoidable, obviously, but do your best to put yourself in the best situation possible. Struggle at contesting things and thinking before. Oh, I'll put this back up. Struggle at contesting things and thinking before, which often results in bad placements. You just have to, like, this is a concept from League of Legends. It's called make the higher percentage play. If there's like a 80% chance of you winning a fight against another team, but there's like a 90% chance of you like taking an objective somewhere else on the map, or 100% chance, even if it's like an empty zone, like make the higher percentage play. That usually results in kind of training your mind to make better decisions anyways. You'll kind of learn as you play more, like what kind of is a troll play versus like what's a good play. That's kind of just an experience thing. In terms of thinking before a fight, give yourself like a mental checklist. Do you have vision of the area? Are you going to get third partied? What are you fighting for? Are you fighting just a fight? Do you have a transition difference? What's your role in this fight? Like, look at your character, look at the team that you're fighting. Make sure you press tab. Press tab and look at the enemy team. Are they like 10 mastery higher than you? Do you have to do everything right, and will there still be a chance of you losing this fight? Or can you like steamroll the fight while misplaying a bit because you're so far ahead? There are definitely things you want to look at. Want to look at the time of day too. Like if you're fighting right before, like if it's the end of night and you're fighting, like teams are going to see you on radar scan, and if they see that you're fighting, they're going to run to you to try and third party. Now, I know there's like the 10-second TP or whatever. Fights last a lot longer than you think. Teams will still be able to get there, usually. Sometimes things do just go your way, which is always nice. I wouldn't play to play off of things going your way. I would try to put yourself in the best positions to try and make good luck, as they say. Hopefully that helps a little bit. I'm sorry I can't see your game with replays being broken. Next up, is this one going to be broken too? This is Joshua. They're playing Laura, not a pre-made team, unranked. Let's see if this works. Okay, this one worked. So I don't know if it's just replays from a certain day or some replays in general, but food recommendations, pathing options, item transition options, opinions on my gameplay. I played Laura using our school ping, so you're not going to see a lot of missed. So you're going to see a lot of missed skill shots. Also, best team I've had in my matches. Awesome. Okay. Ping is definitely like, what can you do about it? It's just location based, so there's not really anything you can do much about that. Like, don't worry too much about that. In terms of food recommendations, that often depends on your routing. Pathing options will also depend on your build. Item transitions will depend on your character. These are all things that you can find in the Eternal Return test subject Discord. It's discord.gg/test subjects. There is a Laura representative. I believe it's Esther. He will guide you on anything you need to know to play Laura. I am not a Laura player, but definitely check out the test subject Discord for that. There should be a link in the pinned comment if I remember. I will try to remember. But I've definitely talked about it. I have a link in my Discord too, if you want to just like go into my Discord and check out the ER guide section. But in terms of like food recommendations, breakfast sandwiches are quite literally the easiest thing to make in the world. You just need a campfire to make food, or to turn your bread into morning toast, I think it's called, or breakfast toast. And then you need meat, which you can get off any animal. And you can make breakfast sandwiches. Super easy, pretty good food too. I would just do that to start the game, and then you just kind of get food as you loot bodies as well. But we'll have a look at your Laura. We'll focus mainly on things that I noticed then, because a lot of this is going to be character specific. You said you had a good team too. Oh, this isn't KR again. School ping and playing on KR? That might be tough. So you want to make sure your craft when your mobility spell is down. I like that you ran in front of the Razi, but you probably could have just looted, or either ran down the list distribution if it was quicker and looted. Make the distribution that's the closest to you. one thing I want to actually look. When you have two spawns that are next to each other. Okay. So, yeah, I guess the Linox probably would have ran to this one. So this one would have been fine to take this distribution. I guess you could like kind of look to see if the Linox was going to run ahead of you, but I wouldn't bother crafting here like you did. Just craft when you like open boxes or when your mobility spell is down. You should be looking ahead to your second zone. I like that you took this one. I don't know if it was intentional, but this is the only spawn here that doesn't have someone in it, with hospital being your second zone. This being the other option, but you wouldn't have seen them. So good that you took this zone and you didn't take this one up here. Good play. This is completely unlooted, so you'll get through this one quick. Same as the other game, you have glue and you have tights, so you want to make sure that you make your knee pads instead of your broken watch here. There you go. Good job. I guess you can make both if you find both glues, but make sure you make your knee pads first because it'll give you higher movement speed and you can help loot faster. This is what I was talking about last game too, with the chickens being gone pretty quickly usually. A little bit of inventory management here. I'm sure it's ping again, but we're spending a little bit of time at boxes. Make sure you have auto loot turned on if you're gonna play on high ping. It'll help loot boxes quicker. I'm sure you do, but just for anyone else watching, if you're playing on higher ping, you definitely want to make use of auto loot. It is breakfast toast. You got the breakfast toast. Pizza and breakfast toast is pretty good early. Fourth zone up down is a little hard. Uptown being a very contested zone, it's hard to find loot sometimes. If uptown is ever heavily contested, you can look to start uptown. It'll be hard because it's your fourth zone, but it is something that'll help you get your items faster. That's also a tip for every character. That's not specifically Laura. Always try to start in your busiest zone if you can. We're still missing some items, so make sure you're crafting at boxes. It'll help speed up your routing too. Your team's grouping up on you, which is good, especially because you're here for bears. Make sure you get a hit on this bear. That's good. Does it matter if you use a 3-zone build as opposed to a 4-zone build? Doesn't matter in the terms of like one's like overly better than the other. 3 gives you more like options. 3 is much faster than 4 usually. It also depends on your character on how fast they can route, but if your character has a 3-zone build that doesn't like compensate too much on items, you probably want to run it over your 4-zone build. But typically it just makes it so that you have options. Like if you run a 3-zone, finish your build, you can look to pick up kills on other players, where if you're running a 4-zone, you're not going to have that same luxury. If you're routing a 3-zone slower, you tend to keep in line with the 4 zones, where if you're routing a 4-zone slower, like then you're just kind of behind in the early game. Okay, so we have bear missing here, and we have pings on the top side here, so we should know that bears aren't here. Well, what do I know, apparently. Unless Theodore's the one that took this bear. Theodore might have been. Y'all need to help Luke here. This is a 3v2, should be pretty winnable. Luke's gonna go down here. Good assassinate on the Felix. Theodore is left to help the Luke. Made the right play. Debbie and Marlene comes in late, which is good. You guys take a 3v2. Good play. It can be a little tempting to dive with your Luke there, but I like that you stuck onto the Felix. Your job as Laura is kind of just, at minimum, go 1 for 1, but you want to try and get like 1.5 if you can. Really greedy respawn for them. Should be able to kill. Might want to help your Theodore here. Felix much more mobility to be able to get out here than the Debbie and Marlene like using hers to engage on you. So definitely want to heal back to help first. Rosie puts herself in melee range. Fortunate alt miss there. We'll call that ping that you didn't get the E. Theodore needs to just run here. Well, maybe with the ult back up, he might be able to make something happen. Yeah. Good ult turn by Theodore. See, this is why I like Laura's a tough character, right? I don't need to pause this actually. This is why Laura's a tough character, because it's like in the first fight, it was the correct decision to abandon your team here and go after the Felix. But in fighting the exact same team, just being in a different situation here, your role completely changes, right? Felix more likely to make a getaway than Debbie and Marlene using her mobility spells to engage on your Theodore. Right then, it's better to turn onto the Debbie and Marlene, kind of burn her down. Felix has to go rest. He's already pushed out of the fight because he's on half health anyway. Rosie didn't respawn yet. Yeah, your team clutched it a little bit, but it would be better to turn onto the tank in that instance than try and chase the straggler. Missed a day 2 objective, so we made a call in here. Luke made a call in, Theodore made a call in. You did not. I would like to see you have made a call in here. I think Scotty or Glacial Shoes would have been fine. Actually, Laura might go Tolarian. She might not go Scotty. I'm not sure her transitions, but I would like to see a call in there regardless. Also, make sure your food's on the right buttons too. I believe you had food on this slot earlier. Good pick with W here. Theodore ult comes out. That's going to be really good. Definitely want to use your ult to stop the drowsy. More or less did that. You need to start peeling back here. Theodore went down, so Vanya made a good invulnerability play. I like that you recognize that the fight's kind of starting not to go your way, even though you guys had a good engage. So good play to back off there. Good flash out or blink out. Luke picks up the kill on the haze, which is nice. You're caught between two teams here. Yeah. Unfortunate third party, but re-engage. Probably not the best idea here. Could have just made a reset with Theodore respawning. Now your Luke's kind of abandoned. Did miss battle zone as well, unfortunately. Not really keeping up with objectives, which kind of hurts a little bit, especially for your transitions, but you are compensating with mastery, which is good. Let me move my chat up real quick because I see it's blocked off a bit by the text. Put that there. Good pick on the eye here. Just alone. So definitely a good play to get the pick off there. Once again, though, you should be looking to definitely call by this time. You guys can make a day 3 call if that's what you want to hold your credits for. It looks like you're saving for four square. I'm not sure if that's the play that Laura needs to make. Definitely check the test subject Discord to confirm. And also making sure you have food on the right button again. Purple box coming up here, so I would look to take this purple box and make a call in. You will have to fight a team for it looks like, and they might be a little bit stronger. Will depend how you play the fight. Corridor is really good for Theodore. And Laura for that much, trying to get ults. You guys are good on mastery. Looks like you won't go for the purple box, though. Pick up a bear. You do have to kind of be playing careful at this point. You should know that because you didn't get a day 2 resource. You didn't get a battle zone resource, you didn't get an alpha, and you're not getting a purple box now, that you do have a little bit less transitions than the rest of the lobby. Especially you being on 0, but your team in general only having 1 each. Can look for a horde here. It is day 3 now, so you should see radar scan. You should know that these are empty. You guys could start walking over there. You do have to worry about this team TPing in, but when you saw radar scan, you should take note that 1 team in cemetery and 1 team in beach. This team has to walk into a zone to TP. This team has to walk into a zone to TP. Even this one, like they were in archery, they'll walk into a zone to TP, but they will get there faster than these 2 teams. But they're also going to stop for this purple box. If you had waited on the hyperloop, you guys could either TP into fire station, pick up the meteorite or purple box, or just walk down and just stream. Like you, and then, or even do that after and walk in the stream. This team can't jump over because the red zone, so they would have to walk all the way around or TP. They probably just will get the alpha. Like, we're leaving 3 objectives on the map here, and it's not really your fault. You gotta have to coordinate as a team to go get them. But I would be like spam pinging, being like, these are open. One thing you do need to do is like take note of who can get to a hyperloop quickly. And then you can always come back for these bears after, right? Like, they're not going anywhere. Also, you should not be the one to aggro these bears. Luke should 100% be the one to aggro them. Still got a tree up here. That looks like it should go to you guys. Oh, Debbie TP's in. So Debbie would have seen you guys buying in here. Knows that you guys are up top. Had you have gone straight to this objective, she either can't make this play. She's like, this is risky, right? Like, her team's on the other side of a map and she's getting a tree for free. Like, this needs to be punished immediately, but that's why we go to objectives. Oh, you saved straight for blood. Okay. I don't know if blood whip is Laura's first transition. I think that's kind of just like a luxury. Now, blood whip is very strong. It's always been one of the strongest blood weapons, so it won't hurt you having it. You'll still be able to eliminate your priority targets well, but just check the Discord. Make sure that your transition order is correct. So you got Omega spawning here. You could stick around for it. Looks like your team wants to go to it. 3 teams left too. So you know that a lot of these objectives on the map will be free. Another food option, you get meat right here off these chickens. Just pick up both of those meat. Campfire right here, you can make steak. Steak is not a bad food. It's not obviously not the best food in the game, but it's definitely not a bad food. Good ward here. See the entrance in case a team walks in while you're doing Omega. She should be able to see them if they walk down. Looks like you'll get it in time anyway, but I think you'll have vision of them through there. And right now is when you want to start thinking about how you fight this team, because this is likely going to be the team that you're going to fight. You know that Razi is a marksman, Felix is a damage dealer, and Deadly Marlene's a tank. Your job obviously is going to either try to kill this Razi or kill this Felix. Preferably the Razi if you can, but it's kind of hard for Laura. Luke should dive with you. You guys can focus the target down together. With the Theodore ult, it should help you get onto the Razi a bit better. I would move a lot quicker than you did. Yeah. You guys are a little split up here, which is unfortunate. Luke is diving backline here. You're kind of peeling with Felix, or peeling with Theodore, which is fine. Luke did a really good job of not dying immediately and going down, so that worked out really well for you guys.
This is the beginning.
Kind of made a hero play there. I think you made the right play of bursting Debbie and Marlene down with your Theodore. You're kind of in like a caught position, so that was definitely the right play to make there. That's more so just like a really good play by Luke Bull to recognize how strong he is, knowing that he can take that fight with the stasis, stall for enough time for you guys to kill Debbie and Marlene. So good play on him. If that Luke isn't strong enough, he should probably peel back with you guys. It was a little questionable when I saw him run over here, but he made it work. Got some transitions online now, which is good. Once again, you didn't eat any food during that fight, so make sure the moment that the fight starts, you want to try and eat your food so you can start taking back the damage that you take. Always want to be eating during the fight, not just after. Should be a pick on Felix here. You know he doesn't have his team, so you can just run at him. I wouldn't bother even hesitating. Good ult. That's a team wipe. Good job. 2 teams left. You would have just saw them on radar scan. I know it might have been a little tough because you were fighting the Felix at the same time. So, but you should see that they're in beach, nowhere near you on the map. So you know that you can grab the purple box up in archery, wherever it is. Oh, it's right here. You can grab one in fire station if that's actually spawned or not. Basically, you want to make sure you're full transitioned, strongest point as possible for this next fight. It will be the last fight. You're fully transitioned. Theodore's got 2 slots left. Luke's got 3 slots left. And because you know this is the last team now on radar scan, you can start to formulate your game plan for fighting this team. This is a really hard team for Laura to fight specifically because you can't assassinate the Shukai. You can't really assassinate the Chiara. She probably has stasis. Yeah, she has stasis. And Vanya has 2 ways of blocking most of your damage, as you saw in the first fight in school over here. Didn't really work out that well. I would work on trying to just get damage down on whoever Luke's hitting. He's going to be the key to winning that ult with the Theodore ult. So kind of play off him a little bit. Make sure you keep Theodore alive so he can keep healing you guys. But in terms of like assassinating a target, you're probably not going to be able to do that unless you can kind of like pick Chiara. You guys should be able to play it front to back pretty well though. I would try to engage on Chiara if you can. I think she's going to be like the biggest problem. If you manage to burn her down before you guys fall asleep from the Vanya, you should be able to deal with the Shukai pretty easily and the Vanya. They kind of let you just have Wick for free, which is crazy, but that also helps you guys. I'm glad you got vision of your flank, vision of this flank, so that you can see that if they're going to engage on you. You know Chiara's over here because you can see her on a camera, so you know this is a 3v2, so good engage here. Vanya's caught, so you can look to engage on her. Careful with the dive here. Vanya's a little deceptive with how much shielding she can get. You should be able to clean up this fight fine, but just be a little bit careful when you dive onto Vanya. It's just very hard to deal with. If Chiara didn't double tap her ult to try and execute at you and keep Vanya alive, this would have been a much harder fight for you guys. It would still be ticking currently, but for the most part, you guys played that right. I know it's really tempting to finish off a character if you can, but more or less pushing a character that's low health out of a fight to the point where they can't like really go back in is almost the same as killing them in some instances. Vanya was forced to make like a pretty bad ult off to the side, so you kind of did your job there. Could have just played back a little bit. Once you got the ult down, you didn't have to flash forward, try and Ian kill her. She's gonna get those shields, but you know that for next time now. The character gets a billion shields. But pretty good play. Good decision making, whether it was intentional or not. All right, next up. Okay, so this is the first person that we watched. I believe this is we resubmitted this game because of the replays were broken. Typically we just do one submission. Don't try to submit twice, but I believe this was just because the I added the like Dropbox so that you could upload your replay in case it wasn't working. Yours was working, so don't worry, but I will check my replay just to make sure that it was the same game. 281 88631. Okay, so it is a different game. Yeah, typically we only do one submission though per week, just so I can get through everybody. Next up, we have Rev, Camilo player, playing solo, gold plat. Don't know myself, however, I do want to know what aspect separates Mithril players from plat. Usually it's decision making, sometimes it's mechanical, but it'll mostly be macro. Macro makes the biggest difference as you go up in ranks. Your drop drive file, let me grab that. Do a quick download. Once again, thank you for accommodating for the replays being broken. I guess I'll try the replay first to see if it works, but if it's broken. Okay, your replay worked, which is good. I'm glad replays are working now, it seems.
Get started. Time to riot.
Okay. Let me cancel this download then. Just don't need this anymore. And you were the Camilo. This one. Starting it up down. Does the skin have effects on it, or is this like... It's kind of cool. I like that. Oh, you're also emote. Interesting. I haven't seen many Camilos. I always like getting unique champions. So we have Camilo, Celine, and Sua. Looks like we're playing on KR again. All you guys playing on KR. Y'all don't like NA? Or you just live in other parts of the world? Or lots of KR games. So far so good on routing. Double branch. Craft out the box if you can while you're looting, save time. I like that you picked up running shoes in Uptown too to help you route faster. Always good. So definitely a veteran play. So crafting while your skills are on cooldown, also a veteran play, super good. If you are gonna take hunts in the early game, this is how you do it, so that you're not wasting too much time. Craft in between cooldowns. I would be picking up the meat too, if you can, though. It looks like you'll have the inventory space, so. What's going to be our play with night one? Oh, you need a rock, I think, right? For the tiara. (3v2) should be able to take this fight pretty easily. Sua whiffs everything, which is unfortunate. Oh, the shoot guy's here. It's 3v3. Good ult down. Camilo ult's a little tough. I don't know how to mechanically play Camilo, so I can't really speak on that. Good that you recognize that this was a losing fight. Got yourself out. It's really important. It's a tough skill to do. So that's really good. Sua kind of whiffed everything. I think she missed ult and then E'd through a stasis. So at that point, the fight was kind of lost, unfortunately. And you're kind of still down a headpiece, so. And didn't have great food. So good recognize there. Celine's built. Is your Sua built? Okay, everyone's on full build now. Not going to be in a bear zone for night one, so a little unfortunate. Did get some mastery from the fight though, which is nice. This comp's pretty interesting. Gonna look to poke with Celine, I think, and then Sua is gonna look to kind of engage with EQ and then probably give you the W or look to blind a target so that you can kind of run through their team. Recognizing when a fight is lost is something I'm learning to do right now. Really nice to watch this. It's a really good skill to have, and it's really tough to do. It's one thing that's definitely going to save you from going 8th a lot if you're able to do it. Bush bait here. Sua goes early. I think Sua could have just engaged onto the Camilo too. Looked for William. Careful of the pull. Go fight for meter right here. I don't hate this play. I kind of wish Sua looked for the poke on the Camilo. William's kind of ripping through your team. Early game William though doesn't do overly too much damage, so should be able to bring him down. Good fight mechanics here. I liked your patience. It's probably really easy to commit with this Sua. She looks like she's gonna play hyper aggressive, so really good that you pulled it back a bit. Probably gonna look for a call in here maybe. Oh, you don't have enough credits, but that would be a decent time. Sua's gonna look for magic bat. I imagine that's probably best option. Sua probably gonna carry a lot of the early game damage. Able to get damaged a lot quicker than the rest of your team. Either that or like Celine would have been fine probably, especially with her poke. Like that you're in archery. Really good play to head back up here with the hunts respawning. The horde should put you ahead. And you find a meteorite, which is good. Probably gonna be for Pegasus. Or for what is it, Twin Star? Oh, Meteor Claymore. Oh, you're playing Rapier Camilo. Oh, interesting. I don't know what the stronger Camilo is, but that's interesting. I haven't seen much Rapier Camilo. Makes sense with this kid, I guess. Okay, good hunt pickups here. Now we get our call in, which is good. Tree of Life. Probably either Radar or Alec. Oh, Jesus. Almost died there for a second. Probably for Radar or Alexander. Choked on water. I think Radar is stronger for most, like 90% of characters. Characters that don't really use attack speed probably go Alexander, but I think Radar is a bit better. Rozzy goes Alexander. Needs the movement speed, plus she doesn't really value attack speed too much. We are here for Alpha. We should dip into this battle zone. Okay, so there's a few things when picking a battle zone that you want to look out for. One of them is like if it's near an alpha. This is a pretty good battle zone because it is right near an alpha. If you guys get this uncontested, you can look to pull this alpha down towards the battle zone and then you can flee into it if you have to. Another one is Temple. Temple would have been a really good zone here because you got bears respawning at night. You'll get 2 bears there. You're near stream, which has 2 bears, and then the horde's also going to be respawning after the battle zone. So it's a pretty good one as well. Uptown has bears. Beach is another one. You get 3 bears plus a horde. Uptown, I believe you can pull this one into Uptown as well. So really good options for battle zones. Some battle zones, not all battle zones are created equally. Some are better than others. So just keep that in mind. y'all should get this for free and then look to pull that alpha over here. Find another meteorite, Jesus. So this should probably go over to the Selene. Oh, she's got Force Core already, jeez. Yeah, it's gonna go over to the Selene. Make sure you are pulling it. I know it's likely free, but you will get it in time. But it's just the easier play just to pull it, like, even just right here, have more space. That was a crazy flashy from Selene. I don't know about that play. Ooh, got your double canceled. Okay. That's, oh, you might get out, actually. Well, maybe not with, yeah. That's a really tough play there. Your Selene kind of made a crazy play to try and E the Kathy into you guys. Sue definitely wasn't ready for it, and I don't think that's like that great of a play regardless. This one's kind of tough for you because Sue is gonna try and peel the Magnus off of the Selene. I think at this point, because you know Selene doesn't have a blink now because she just blinked forward, you probably just back up with them towards the battle zone. They probably won't chase you into this battle zone, but also like stalling so that you don't get wiped here is also not like a bad play, I don't think, as long as Sua gets out, which she should. There's no way this Magnus should kill a Sua here. So like I like that you're creating space for them, especially because your Selene's good as dead, but you should always be thinking like abandon when you can. Like there's no chance this is a winnable fight with how your Selene's starting the fight on 250 health. So just kind of a mindset thing here. I think like right here, if you like Kathy put way too much space with the going forward here, so you can kind of look to run away now. I think you're probably gonna get Nikki ulted regardless, but especially with Magnus trying to guard the Selene, I think you just look to leave when you can. It is still before day 3, so this isn't a big deal. Yeah, he's not gonna chase you into this battle zone, so definitely think flee first if you can. Didn't expect to stream on YouTube. Yeah, I primarily stream on YouTube. I don't stream on Twitch that often. YouTube's sort of my home. They really tried to dive out. Oh, hold on. I want to go back and see what happened. Did Selene get the E? Especially because, like, if you do get away by some miraculous chance, I think Sua heard them TP. They would saw the pings here. Oh, they tried to aggro the wolves. Yeah, this is a horrible fight. It was really good E by Selene there. Horrible fight for them to try and take. Like, there's a good chance you pick up 2 there if you did manage to get yourself out. I don't know if you really could have, though, but... Oh, she did end up getting both. That's crazy. So, not all is lost. That's 2 for 2. Or 2 for 1 even, because you got the res on Selene. Day 2 coming to an end. Should look for a day 3 objective. You know that you have the timers up here, which I assume is what you're heading back for. So really good play macroly there. Picking up your hunt rotation. Sorry if you hear a dog barking in the background. You should see pings here, so you know there's a team here, plus Sua can walk up and see. This is kind of a run back. This fight going much better now that you're kind of in the back with your team. Nikki is on the flank, but it's just going to be too far away to really get into the fight. Another team here, so you should be thinking escape again. I don't think you were going to get out anyway, but that backstep kind of hurt you a little bit. Sua somehow still in the middle with this, getting a 1v1. Shukai. Once again, they'll need to die before day 3, so not too big of a deal. It's hard for Camilo to kind of read these situations. But again, will be an experience thing.
You need to be prepared too. Taking them down.
Your team cleaned up really good, which is nice.
You need to be prepared too.
You need to be careful of this team up here. You should know that they're there because of the radar scan. And you know that there's no more hunts here, so this wouldn't be a safe call in time. Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you died after or before day 3, so you did respawn. Try to look to respawn your team here, especially because you knew this team was around. A little bit of a greed, just clicking the zone. Make sure you spawn with your team. And you guys can take this fight. You do need to kill William because he's already stacked up, so I would be careful walking straight into him. Engaging on Cicella is also tough. Really good E there by the Celine, but you guys really need to kill this William. Or push him out of the fight like that. I think Sua got a lot of damage and Celine got a lot of damage off there. I'm gonna look back to see what bursted them so hard, but they kind of fled into a corridor instead of staying out in the open, which is good for you guys. Yeah, what happened here? So Cicella E's, or Cicella doesn't get the bubble on the, or maybe she does, but it doesn't push her anymore. They eat a 3 bomb. William's now frontlining. Putting out a lot of damage. Oh, Celine. Yeah, Celine just gets a huge bomb. And it looked like the Cicella pulled herself in by accident instead of pulling one of you guys back.
This is the beginning. You need to be prepared.
So, really good flank by Celine there.
This is the beginning.
That fight has the potential to go really poorly. Good thing it didn't. Celine's pretty cracked. This is a KR Celine though, so quite scary on 2-ping. At this point, your Celine kind of get an idea of how good she is. Plus, she has a ton of credit, so she's going to get all her transitions online right now. I would look to play off her when you can. Kind of just the nature of this comp, but you're probably not going to do much of the carrying. You'll do a lot of the cleanup. So look to keep her safe. Try and get taunts when you can so she can 5-bomb, but realistically, you're probably not 1v9ing this game. She's got most of her transitions too. I'd probably, like, unless you're going Guardian suit to like stay alive for her, I'd probably give the tree over to her for glacials. Realistically, she's going to be the one to live in a fight. Like, you're not going to be the one living on Camilo. Make sure you check for your transitions. At least one of you. Celine did.
Now would be a good time to watch where you're going.
Omega here. I'm glad that you guys are here for it, being one of the stronger teams left. You guys start off as one of the weaker teams. Now you guys are one of the stronger teams after some good fight wins, so really good adjustment there. Sua's going to look to poke out with Qs. Celine should look to poke with bombs. Celine on objective's really good too. Sua kind of inting here. She has stasis though to keep herself alive. Gotta keep the Luke off the Celine. Big 5-bomb. She got enough damage down, I think, for you guys to clean up. This is what I was talking about, where Celine kind of carries the fight, but you do the most of the cleanup. If she doesn't get that 5-bomb down, and you guys don't really clean up, so really good play there by her. You filled your role, which is always good. Filling your role, I think, is much harder than carrying a game. Anyone can get ahead and kind of pop off, but to play your role in a team comp shows like really good precision. Doing the food cycle, it seems, over here. We got 2 4 scores now. I guess one of them goes to Guardian suit for you. The other one should go to... You got 3 4 scores? You got 3 4 scores. Well, you guys can look to transition everyone at this point. 2 teams left. You will see where they are in about 20 seconds, but we are doing some time standing still. I want to avoid that when possible, even if it's just like find the items you need while moving. Standing in one spot's the only thing that doesn't ever grant you anything besides dying. You could be looking for hunts, looking to walk to your next destination. Obviously, you don't want to walk too far until you see the next team. You know they're on the other side of the map now. You know they probably are going to get these purple boxes, so you do want to try and get there as quick as possible. You're not going to be able to TP because you're kind of in the middle of 2 zones, but I would just start walking down to Chapel. Chapel's a pretty good zone for you to fight in too. Tight corridors are good for Celine. They're good for Sua. At this point too, you also want to be assessing what you're doing for your comp. You can also look to make a call in to get your tree for your last item so that you're as strong as possible. Same with Celine. Look to get some call ins as well. You could have also done that up here if you wanted. You don't need to save credits for rezzing at this point because this fight's likely going to be the one to determine the game. If you guys feel like you need Wick, which you don't, you can play slower for that. But I would be assessing how to play this fight. This is the team you fought earlier up here in Police Station. You kind of saw what didn't work, and then you kind of saw what worked. So you should have a pretty good idea on how to play the fight from the first 2 times. You know you can't really leave your team to try and 1v2. You also can't like let the Magnus just run free on your Celine. He causes too much pressure, and it's really hard for Celine to deal with Magnus. We talked about that actually in a previous replay, how hard it in the Water Fudge, actually. The Water Fudge replay, we talked about how hard it is for Celine to deal with Magnus. Basically, you kind of want to look to avoid taking as much damage from Kathy as possible. They might be too far. You might be able to burn it in time, especially if you have vision, be able to see them coming. Safer play is just not good play. I like that a lot, especially because you can see them coming. And let's see how you play this fight. Okay. Probably could look to poke out the Nikki there. It's a better engage than double Sue at E. Once again, Celine got enough damage down, so you guys can clean up the fight. Really good there. One thing that I will mention really quickly is that when you are in a position like this where you have a vision trap, you know that this team is walking up. You know that Nikki is walking forward. But regardless of this, you know that Magnus is not in the front. Nikki does not have a bush checking ability, right? QWE, not great tools for checking a bush. Kathy, same thing, right? She has to walk up to like melee range of this bush to check the bush. QWE is not great. She can blind suture. That's probably her best option. But the best option to check this bush is Magnus Q. And he's way too far to do that because he's walking behind them. Because Kathy and Nikki are kind of your priority targets, more so Kathy in this comp, I think once they walk up here, like you have vision of Nikki, right? Like this is already too close, but you should have pretty good vision of Kathy here. Let me just toggle it to make sure, but I'm pretty sure you do have. Yeah. So you have vision of Kathy as well. I know you can't really engage in this comp, but Sua definitely should have just double QR'd here. Try to hit both of them, but mainly hit the Kathy. Nikki can parry, so she has a way of getting out of it, but I think instead of waiting for Nikki to walk up and ward this bush, you just hard engage. Because the option then is like this double E from Sua. And look how far she is, right? Like she's all the way up here. Your backline's here. This is a really good spot to fight in. And you have no idea where Kathy is, right? Like she could be over this wall ready to flank. Now you have to try and play around that. Now she's way back here, thankfully. But if she was like over by this wall, she has a direct path to your Celine that you guys don't know about. And that's kind of the difference between, I think, Plat and Mithril is looking for angles and where you have a kill and like missing out on a kill when you could have had one. Both teams here kind of missed out, right? Like you guys could have popped the Kathy and Kathy could have had a direct backline access to your Celine. Especially with stun plus Nikki R because she had a good parry on the Sua ult. But once again, health bars are already nuked. Did a lot of damage. It's left to just you two to clean up the fight. So good plays there. Played the comp right. Played your role right. Super clean game, other than the couple mishaps at the beginning, but overall, really good. Really quickly though, I am going to use the bathroom and then we'll get into our last game. Actually, let me just check to make sure we have one last game first. It might be bugged, so we'll see. Okay, yeah, so we do have one more game. I'll be right back real quick. Drink too much damn water on this stream, man. Okay, so our last game. We have Snow. We'll watch the second kill. Just because there's probably more that we can talk about in the final fight than in the first place. Their fellow streamer, Eternal Return content creator. Be sure to check them out as well. They're playing Yuki, their duo with Zion, unranked. Overall, trying to learn the ins and outs of the game. I am basically new to the game. Okay, cool. So we'll talk about some of the more basic stuff to get some of the, what do you call it? Like the foundation down before we go into like too heavy macro stuff. Okay, this replay is broken. So I think they submitted a Twitch link. Thank you, thank you. We'll watch it with sound too, just so that we can kind of hear some of the stuff that they're talking about. I think that'll be pretty helpful for some of the decision making. We can kind of, this will be a little bit more intense because you obviously don't think about as much as you should while streaming. Just if you, like most times you care about viewer engagement and viewer experience. So talking to your chat kind of takes you out as well. It looks like you're doing it with the Johan. So make sure that this is capturing. Very cool. Cute cat too.
Look for the materials you need here.
So this probably will be the same as the last game if your route is
Time to head to the hospital.
Cemetery Hospital. Yeah, it is. Okay, so same thing as last game. You want to start in the spawn that is like most likely to be your fastest. So that's, let me get my pen out just because it's easier. Instead of spawning over here and taking this loot distribution, you want to run over to the loot distribution nodes over here. It'll be much faster to do it that way because you can just run it into hospital right across instead of like looting up here and like running all the way down this way. So use the speed burst off the start to get that. It's the first kind of basics of looting and routing.
Mag-dive. Paano mag-ano?
We don't need leather, so we don't have to worry about killing chickens right away too. Food kind of can wait for after you finish your build. The most important thing is to get your build online, so I would wait on chickens and food. Rocks here are good because you can one zone your boots here. And you have empty starting zone like hospital. You don't have to worry about getting like the one-off distributions. You can go straight to the inside distributions and then pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one here doesn't really follow the same distribution pattern, so I would just go straight in and grab that. You only really need these if there's a ton of people in your zone. Also make sure you're crafting
early game.
Make sure that you're crafting at boxes too, just to help speed up. Also use your E like that. Good job. Try not to hit the wall, but good use of E to cut down some of the distance. You can also use your level 1 blink to help. I like that you built your boots in full first, which is good. That'll help you speed up your routing. Was that distribution taken? Oh no, you just need branches. Oh, this distribution wasn't taken. Yeah, okay. So you can just look to find the bottle in one of the boats at the bottom here, like either down here. Like it'll be in one of these. There's one item per zone, so I would just do that. I guess also you could run up if you were going to grab the branches right away too, but like you run the risk of running into someone here or like looting into a looted zone already, especially if you're just going to run back here. It's a level 1, so free kill for you. I think this person just like didn't load in right away, so if it's ranked, you can pick up that kill. If it's normals, like because you're a new player, it's fine, but if veteran players typically will leave that. Gives them a chance to play the game. Okay, we're getting our transitions here. I would check on this build because I don't think Yuki runs Commander's Armors. I talked about it earlier. Make sure you're checking the test subject discords to get the most up-to-date builds. Actually, I can probably just give an example of it right now, just so that we all know. This is the Eternal Return test subject discord. When you join, it'll prompt you to choose a character. I'm in the Abigail and Razi because that's who I've been playing recently. But if you go down to like Yuki, if I can find, I think it's an order of released characters. Maybe not. Actually, I don't think it is. Where is Yuki? Oh, there he is. So you click the emote for Yuki, it'll open up the Yuki channels and you'll be able to see the builds. This is his current dual swords build. I believe you're playing dual swords. You are. So instead of Commander's Armor, you'll want to look to build Rocker's Jacket. This isn't a crit build. This is a AP build. And this is the two-headed build. Alex Presso, currently the Yuki rep. This is another two-headed sword build. So look to build these items when you play Yuki. This probably is updated September 13th. So this is this patch. Make sure you're always building the most up-to-date items when you can.
Natake ka agad?
Oo. Napatay ko na lang.
Ano level?
3.
Tangina.
Oh, I think the Magnus might have been a bot, actually. If this is a normal game. We are in beach, and you're finished your build, so you want to look to take beach bears while they're here. Yuki kind of known for beach bears on dual swords.
Level 4.
It's another free kill. So you have an item discrepancy. Good that you're picking up your kills. And Yuki's kind of known as the beach terrorist as well, right? Like,
Oh my god.
there's not very many matchups dual swords that Yuki loses in beach. He kind of just loses the team. So if your team groups up on you, it's pretty good. Especially if you have a duo, it's always good. Johan's not going to be doing much solo farming on himself, and you have Animate Reaper, so you should be looking to charge your bears. Overall, everything is good. Should be looking to go to your first objective day 2, whether it's tree or meteorite, based on your comp. You're going to be the main damage dealer in this comp with a Johan and 11. Johan will try to keep you alive, and you'll be diving with 11 to try and get most of your damage down while she has taunt up. I would look to get your spring and autumn online first. That's kind of Yuki's bread and butter. One thing you can do is that you can contest a tree or a meteorite on day 2, and because Johan's pretty much a support character, he can look to call in the other part for you. So you don't have to really worry about saving credits for Force Core. Same with 11. She's probably going to take some transitions, but not a lot. If it's a pre-made team, she'll probably use her credits on you as well. This is a pretty decent example of a comp that you'll want to funnel, because without Yuki, Johan in 11 is not killing anybody. Definitely want to be at an objective, especially with all the early game kills you want to. You have a full Anima Reaper stack too, so you want to make the use of it. No team can really fight you if you have that much stacks unless they play the fight really well. You'll just naturally out damage them. Be careful rotting onto Sua. She has 2 ways of stopping your Q. She can either blind you, and because your Q counts as an auto attack, she won't stun, or she's just W's herself and it won't stun. She's alone there, so it's fine, but just in a team fight, engaging onto a Sua is a little hard. Like that you're going to Tree of Life, just know that as you get into higher and higher lobbies, this will be taken immediately, so you won't be able to just grab it whenever you can. You'll want to look to get there right as day 2 spawns. I would have gone to this tree rather than gone to warehouse. So because you're a duo, normally I would recommend like playing solo. This is when you want to make your first call in. Like if you have the tree and you're playing solo, I would call in a meteorite for your spring and autumn now. But because you're a duo, you can kind of pool your credits together. Like you have 430, your Johan probably has over 200. That's 600 credits. You can look to have 2 or 3 transitions even onto you at this point. That would definitely make you stronger than any team in the lobby. You'll be able to steamroll a battle zone. That transition can go over to 11, probably because it'll be a attack skill or a mithril. Probably be a little bit more expensive to call in, so she can go to her. She gets a little bit more tanky for you. Kind of just snowballing your objectives that way. Yeah, so smart play here. You have enough credits for blood, so you can just straight up call in taproots if you want. I would definitely have the Johan then call in the meteorite for you, so that you have spring and autumn. The attack range is super important. Cooldown reduction always super important on DS Yuki as well. So 2 of your good transitions. Typically though, you're not going to be able to rush blood a lot in most games, especially as you get into higher and higher in ranks. So I would look to try and get other transitions online first.
Tara, alpha tayo, alpha, alpha.
But I like that you are taking the transitions, especially for this comp.
Okay now for items ko.
Once you have your transitions, you can dump these out of your inventory as well, save up some inventory space.
Yung ano, weapon, tas
And Battle Zone into a Mega is once again a really good play. I didn't see what other Battle Zones were available. Because you got the Battle Zone really quickly, you do want to probably just head straight to Omega. Or, sorry, to Alpha. But if this were like a contested Battle Zone, you would want to look to take the bears in Uptown because they'd be respawning. You also have timers for the bears in Beach because you grab them and you would know those would be respawning too. Since you have so many transitions and Mastery is probably a better bet, it would be better to just farm out the bears in Uptown and farm up the bears in Beach. You could get the Night Horde as well rather than grabbing this Alpha.
high cooldown.
Just a little bit of a macro play.
Di ko kailangan nito ah.
So once again, it's odds and percentages, right? Like you don't know if there's a team here. So like the higher percentage play is the 100% bears in Uptown. You know they're there because they're respawning at night. And you are safe because you're in your battle zone. So it's just a higher percentage play. Also, definitely want to be eating better food than just raw meat. Smithra could probably go over to 11. Help keep her tanky. She is a little bit far behind though compared to you, so it doesn't hurt to just keep it in this scenario, but just for the comp's sake, 11 probably would make better use of the Smithra to help keep her alive. Cleaned out your inventory, which is good. You do need to cook some food.
Wala nga eh. Iniwasan mo yung heal ko.
Steak would be fine. I'm not sure what you did with your bread. You might have ate it in the first fight, so won't be able to make breakfast sandwiches, but steak should be fine. Yuki, I think, needs SP drinks. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe Dual Swords doesn't.
Wala po nga patay. Tara.
Do you need?
All right, Alpha. Make sure you're grabbing vision before you just blindly go into these objectives. I know no one's here, but do you want to be grabbing vision console when you can? Help keep you safe, prevent you from third parties.
Bigyan mo sa tank natin. Kailangan mag-shop. Bili lang.
This is good that you're giving the myth armor to her. It's definitely a good play. Whether she picks it up, it's not on you, but it looks like the 11's also new, so
Ito.
you did what you could. I wouldn't spend too much time trying to get her to wear it,
Tara,
but
tara. Dabi.
Paano mag-team voice?
especially because now you're caught in the red zone.
May 3 of life. Saan?
Saan?
Stream.
Kunin ko
Make sure you are staying together too. This will be punished if you are in a higher elo lobby. Because there's radar scan when it turned day 3, teams will be able to see you split up for Uptown and Purple Box, and your team go in the cemetery, so they might look to TP on one of you. Plus, you see a ping in cemetery, so you know someone's near you. Team should look to not fight that while you're not here. Realistically, all of you probably should have gone up to Pond to get the bears, the tree, and the Purple Box. It's much better play than walking up to cemetery. There's nothing there. I think there might be wolves, but that's about it.
Can he? Can he?
However, you always want to make the wrong play as your team rather than make the right play by yourself. So
Ang bait ko talaga doon. Thanks for the arm. Thanks to the armor.
Mithril or mithril. Wala nang mithril.
Check ko lang sa akin.
another Mithril. I'd probably just get it to the Johan at this point. I think you need to maintain your crit to do damage, so Mithril Helm's not going to be the best option. Plus, you'll overcap on CDR. And it doesn't give attack speed anymore, so it's not a great item.
Shop pwede.
I would just give it to Johan for Mithril Dress, probably.
Wala masyadong kailangan na cooldown eh.
Puna tayong ano?
At worst, you can also make Mithril Water, which I think you got some from the Alpha, but I'm not sure. Maybe that was a different game.
Let's just take
Oh no, you made Mithril Armor with the Alpha Mithrils. Ignore me.
May kalaban nito.
Ava alone here. Good pickup to pick up someone who's not with their team. That could have been you had this not been hear Johan come to stream, but it is good that you're picking up stragglers. How did you get second in this game? I'm curious. What happened at the end here? Test subject score will also give you alternate options for transitions too. I don't like Mithril Helm here. I don't think it's great. Realistically, you could just keep the TR on and give that to 11 as well, but
Level 3 pa lang to Zion. Yung Wolf, level 3?
Walang pumapatay eh.
it's a big loss of damage putting on Mithril Helm. In a comp where your only job is to deal damage. You're the only damage dealer. So. Especially with 11 not grouping.
Focus my heals.
3v2 fight. Typically you want to avoid these when you can, but 11's kind of far. And it does look like it's winnable.
I'm stunned.
You would have to dive the Rio in this comp, so
I can run.
Elena's not going to be taking too much damage from you. Especially with the loss of damage on your headpiece, so look to try and get on the Rio if you can.
Tapos level 8.
Blink EQ, dual swords so that you can follow her past her jump.
Puro DPS.
Kind of your bread and butter combo.
What I need, what we need. Oo nga. Pero what we need is a tank. Like a tank. Zion, don't worry. Pwede kita bilhin.
Anong magkano pera mo? 305. Kaya ito na lang, 3 of life na lang.
Kaya ba to?
Yung.
Hindi kaya nga to.
Typically, when you get separated from a team like this, you want to try and get grouped back together as quickly as possible. Just making sure that you're playing together. Especially once again, we're 30 seconds away from a radar scan, so people will see you alone again.
David, gusto mong puntahan ulit? Baka mga low na.
Wait lang. TP muna ako sa'yo. What do you
Sige,
think?
tipis ako. Sige, tipi ka. Saan? Baka mga low na yan.
G? Crafting.
Engage on Nathapon is good, especially with their Magnus low. You did get the dual swords rampage, so you might be able to catch up to him.
JC1.
Okay.
Did let it expire, unfortunately. 11's here with a flank.
Dead one.
Tingin isa. Nakablo ka yung isa.
Dead.
So good fight win. Definitely want to be cautious with your target selection. Johan's running down Nathapon. It's funny.
Killing every the tanks.
Ating natin kanina. Yung inahabol ko. Hindi ko mahabol.
Yeah, no, Johan not gonna be able to finish that off, unfortunately, just because nature of that champion. But
Wala namin. Takot nga siya sa akin. David, pabili nga dalawang 3 of life.
Got you. Dalawa lang? Ayaw mo na tatlo?
we're gonna be here in 30 seconds. Being the strongest team here, you definitely should be at Wick, and you should be there early.
Force part.
Zion.
Ah.
Dalawang meteorite ka
I know you got double meteorite here, but giving away for free Wick for free in this lobby is a little bit troll.
Ah.
You should be able to fight being this far ahead anyways, but
Wait lang.
11 gets a taunt on Jackie. Not a great dual swords rampage here, but good dive onto the Aya to pick her up.
Back down lang pag ano. Okay, back.
Yeah, a little tough
May revive
for this fight. Probably shouldn't have been in this situation to begin with.
Patay na ako.
Diving the Aya was okay. I think you might need to dive the Hedgen or just play front to back and kill the Jackie. Yuki has a really good matchup into Jackie.
Hindi ka pwede mag-revive din.
I think that was Amp Aya too. So like Yuki has a really good matchup into Jackie, right? Like you disarm her, you can stun her. Mainly the disarm is really good. I think you guys need to try and kill the Jackie first, and then you let Johan try and keep you alive through double mage. Healing is really good against double mage. They have no marksman to help burn down your healing. I don't know if they had heal cut either, but typically I think if you play that fight to back, front to back, then it's a little bit better than trying to dive there, especially with
Pwede mo revive siya.
the target selection. We did miss the Aya with dual swords, so we lost a dash there.
Revive mo na siya.
And then we got double feared, so a little tough.
Ito sana. I have 2 meteorites if you need.
Isa lang kailangan ko.
Take 1.
A tree of life has spawned. The others must be coming for
11 probably didn't realize she respawned. A little unfortunate.
AFK pa nga.
Yeah. Okay, if it's 2v3, that makes
Well,
sense.
kaya ako pera the beat.
And they're taking Wick
Kailangan
now,
ko tree of
so
life.
it's a little
Kinuha
unfortunate.
nila yung tree of life ko.
What do we do? Farm.
So that's always why you kind of go to Wick in these situations, because now you're playing 2v3, and 2v3 Wick is probably doable in this lobby, but 2v3 against the Wick team is definitely not doable.
Kung ginagawa
You can look the third party from this point on.
Dalawang squad. 2 squad.
You're probably not playing for the win unless you get like picks on people and can make uneven fights.
Crimson Witch, what's up? Thank you for the follow. How's it going? How's it going?
Wick's still alive, and you know teams are fighting around here because of ooh, big stun here. Because of the radar scan.
Distance. Nice one.
One thing that you also want to do with Yuki is making sure that you always have your cufflinks, especially on dual swords.
Ito pala ka na, wait now.
They're super important. You typically want to W after you
Nice pa ako.
dual swords, because dual swords use all your cufflinks.
Okay.
Good turn there though. What's a good gold weapon for Chiara? Probably
Fuck.
the missile team,
We are so good.
I would imagine. But check the character Discord.
May pera ako, 4K. 400.
I don't play too much Chiara. I don't know all the weapons off
Dalawang
by
tree of life sana.
memory.
Okay. Kaya mo bantayan?
She's an amp character though, if that helps narrow it down.
If
Ah, hindi. Last team na yan.
One team left, and you know this Wick's been up for a while, so I would be hovering over it. It just got pulled too, so now's the time where you would gonna go third party it. You can see when Wick gets aggroed, just because she does this like little jump on the map.
Ah, hindi. Last team
So
na yan.
if we're looking at Wick here on the map, she's like kind of walking, and then she immediately walks in another direction and then stops. That means someone aggroes Wick. So right now is when you would want to go and walk over. No problem, Arctic.
I appreciate
So we will have to try and fight this team without Wick. They also know that you're here because they can see you calling in.
Come on. Got this.
And they can kind of like pinch you to this corner. It's going to be harder to dodge hedge and skill shots. Rio auto attacks are going to be coming in as well. Kind of just a tough position to be here.
Because I was thinking,
Isa pang tree of life, David. Wait lang, patayin natin nandito.
sure, wala na. No more, no more. Hanap na matambayan.
Also, once you have 2 teams left, these safe zones won't trigger. So
Wait lang, David. Wait lang.
you do want to try and start getting to the middle area so that you can be there for the final zone. Safe zones only trigger when there's more than 2 teams.
Last
Huwag
squad
kang...
kaya.
Last squad yung ano.
Hindi, last squad kaya natin to, for sure. Oh,
Ano yun?
range shot. Ano yan? What the fuck is that? Dito lang sila banda. Oh, yun o. Kita mo?
Wait lang, wait lang, wait lang.
So same thing here. You kind of have to kill Jackie and then hope Johan can keep you alive through
Fuck, daw, nakapag-
everyone else's damage.
Build, go back, go back. Build ka lang, build ka lang. Go
You
back.
guys did burn out the hedge and ult, so you can time it out here. It looks like Rio's not alive, so it should be a 2v2. Definitely a winnable 2v2 if you kill the Jackie.
Dito lang tayo sa
It's
kabila.
just the biggest threat to this comp.
Go ahead.
It is day 5 too, so they can't call Rio back.
Diba?
Yeah, meron ako.
Dalawa lang gago, kaya natin.
Yeah, it's just 2 of them. So focus Jackie down.
Wait lang.
Make sure you get the disarm.
Heal up, heal up.
Okay.
Hopefully nag-enjoy
Okay
ka
na.
sa stream.
Tara,
Kahit
tara,
medyo
saan?
scuff naman.
I would like to see you up in this
Dito
bush.
sila yung galing ata.
If you stand up to the side, should be able to dodge hedging cues, force Jackie to face check it. She doesn't have any face checking abilities. Hedging either has to W or walk through, especially if you see her here because of the console. Good. I like that you're here.
Dito tayo. Sure.
Di sila malapit.
It's also always easier to fight coming out of the zone than it is raw ults hard with 2H Jackie. You
Okay?
have to time it
Wala
out.
na, di-press mo na.
Once again, make sure you're Wing after dual swords, loss of damage with your cufflinks.
Ang hina ng ult ko.
So,
Hina ng ult.
a little bit of mechanical stuff there. Dual swords will eat your entire cufflink and limit your damage. So make sure you get those back after you rampage.
Alam mo yung sayang.
But overall, not a bad game. A little bit of macro stuff, a little bit of mechanical stuff. Hopefully that helps a little. But I hope you adjust well. Welcome to Eternal Return since you're a new player. Did a ton of damage this game too.
Sheesh.
Not Rio, sorry. Aya.
Galing ko.
But yeah, Jackie would have been the focus in that comp.
Tama ba?
Quick reminder before I end stream. Thank you guys for coming up to stream. But quick reminder, at the start of the stream, we went over all the codes available to get yourself some green MP and some A-Coin. Make sure you check out the beginning of the stream to get all the codes if you missed that. There's quite a bit you can grab. Thank you guys so much coming out for coaching. Hopefully replays are fixed permanently now, and we can do it again next week. The next time the submission date will be open will be September 28th. Look out for that in my Discord and my community tab. Feel free to join my Discord. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. I don't think I have a code set up for... Yeah, I don't have a code set up for my Discord, so I'll just post the link. I only have a macro set up on Twitch. But thank you guys for coming out. Hope you learned a lot. I appreciate it, son. Oh, it did work. Okay, cool. It's just very slow. Thanks, Nightbot. I will see you all again next week. We shall do Play Like a Pro. Got another video coming out this week that I'm going to go work on. And I got some fun stuff hopefully coming in October that I should finally be able to get out. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much. See you guys.